Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
What's that
yeah,
little music in the background?
I don't know.
What is it?
It's a clock in my kitchen.
Oh, is it yours?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was like,
Hello,
oh no,
everyone.
that's going to be on there, isn't it?
What's the song actually? What's the song playing?
It's a clock from a Japanese pop group.
Hmm, okay.
But anyway,
Awesome.
that's a whole other story.
You always
Yeah,
have such
probably.
interesting contributions to these chats, Tony. Now it's music. Sometimes it's cats, and in all cases, it's a carefully chosen background.
I
I guess this
yeah,
is your kitchen background again, right?
it's the kitchen. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
nice.
I can't. It's something about me that has to be like a disruptor somehow. I can't. I can't really help it though. Just happens on its own.
Yeah.
I think it's
Well,
great.
looks good. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
So welcome everybody. I was going to say welcome
I
everybody here.
I forgot to say. I think actually that Lady Starlight helped choose this wallpaper.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I remember that after a previous broadcast where people were talking about the wallpaper. So there you go.
Maybe she's here somewhere. If Colleen is here, say hi.
You see, people are always going about the background. It's Lady
I agree.
Starlight chose the wallpaper.
Wow.
Nice one. So welcome everybody. Welcome to Twiddlers Hangout number 33? 8?
9.
7,
39?
9.
I,
39.
I lost count.
39.
I lost count.
There's a lot.
Yeah, 39 weeks. Wow. Okay. So tonight, let me introduce the guests and say hello to everybody in the chat on YouTube and on Twitch. First of all, Vlad is here. Vlad Kramer joining us from Moscow. Hello, Vlad. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm here. Minus
Good, good.
20. Fine.
Oh dear, minus 20. I thought the weather was bad, but minus 20 sounds scary. But you're inside, so I guess you don't have to worry about the temperature too much now.
That's good. I'm inside, not outside.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Vlad. Really good to have you. And also we have Glenn, aka Linear Straight, joining us from Belgium. Hey, Glenn.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Pretty
Good to see you
Thanks.
again.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
It's been not such a long time because we did this set for Stay Hometown System 2 weekends ago already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special day.
Which was a very
in a spaceship. The kind of lighting and all the lights behind you. You're in the console in a spaceship.
Chewy. Yeah. So it was fun actually. I really had a good time, and yeah, it's always fun to be in that place. You know, this is like synth paradise, playing and jamming with Joachim.
Yeah, you did bring your own setup though, and so
yeah, but still,
yeah,
that's even the coolest part. Like we have everything like stuck out there, and we actually didn't use that much from it. So yeah.
No, it's good. I really enjoyed it. It was like a very very contained mood, you know, very very trippy, and it stayed sort of the same throughout the set, which is something it worked out really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope. I really had a nice time. So and everybody knows it was my my birthday that night. So it was like a whoa, a lot of signals. Yeah, it was nice.
Cool. Also joining us, of course, Tony Surgeon is here again. Hey, man.
Again.
Yeah. You've been. This is your
no,
third or fourth time already.
Oh, maybe 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's always good fun though. There's always some good jokes and stories, and yeah, it's good fun.
Good to have you back.
Something to do on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's been for us. It's been our night at the pub. You know, like this weekly chat. with not many places you can go. This is still a really nice way to hook up and to exchange thoughts, ideas, and stories with like-minded people, which is absolutely great. So let's give everybody the opportunity to say hi in the comments. Hello, people in the comments. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them here, and we'll try to bring them into the conversation. Yeah, I see already like one comment about the pipe. Glenn, you had the Soma pipe with you last
Yes.
session we did.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I guess the common theme with all of us here is Vlad's wonderful, amazing, and imaginative instruments, and so we'll be talking about that. But maybe you can we can start with Vlad, because I think what is the reason why you started making instruments? Because I know you're a performer yourself, and you have your own look on what an instrument should be, how the interaction between the user or the player and the instrument should take place. But of course, everybody can have ideas about it, but not many people actually go on and build their own instruments. So what was the trigger for you to start building the stuff yourself?
Well, maybe it was a reflection on surrounding situation on the musical market and common situation on the earth. So first of all, it was connected with Russian of old industry of releases. Like was like classical musician who had record label and releases on vinyls, on CDs. So like guys who care about all these things. And then after internet grow it up and non-commercial labels started to be totally non-profound. So it lost like sense to work in studio, and I moved myself to stage. And it was like everything of every one of us. Of course, you have to make live performance alone. Because time of Pink Floyd is gone, so I can't have big band and move on big truck on my gig. So then I start to invent my own way how I can play, and don't use such things like computer or pre-programmed sequencer that I actually don't like. So I think it's not a good way for live performance if you just press play button and that's all. So you have to really perform something, and it has to be like a process on stage. But it's complex to make a solid performance if you are alone on stage. So I start to invent some tricks for it. This is one part. And second part, I found myself that I am bored in a musical shop. I have money but don't buy anything because nothing catch my attention like regular things. Like don't reflect something important like my feelings, my approaches. So I start to feel different, especially after I visited India and a little bit learn into Indian classical music, and it switched my mind that much better if you make intonation yourself. So choose your notes yourself, not to just fix it chromatical scale. So I started to be very bored with chromatical scale. I hear it everywhere. I started to hear it in all music. So like the same interval, like but multiplying on himself many times. So I started to think how I can make it in another way, more flexible, especially inside how I can express this my inner feelings of scale, and maybe Glenn will support my soul. So I was very so my first come to this was with very first techno, like while they use these trackers, very simple trackers and simple samplers, they are just can adjust this tune with very stupid way, like this DOS style syncs, and the samples often out of tune, a little bit out of tune, but it sounds very attractive because it creates absolutely another feeling of scale. So I found this beautifulness of were scales in early techno clubs, because it was 90s, late 90s, and I didn't hear it in regular music. So that is why I started to invite such strange instruments that can reflect my feelings about scale, how I can interact with scale, and how I can interact with music actually. Because like 61 keyboards started like stopped to get my attention. So I can't suck it in, so it's not a journey anymore. Despite it's still excellent tool for pop production, for something like, let's say, normal production, totally fine. That is why I started to create all these crazy things, and also it was like crazy period like this. So double setup, maybe I did set up like a synth, analog synth with a lot of sensors that I put on my body, and I can play music there by dancing. And it also did a lot of limitations, like I can't wear on myself 70 pieces of equipment, so I need something really lightweight. So it also
So what you're saying, you initially built all this stuff for yourself. So in the beginning, were you planning at all to do any mass production or any instruments for others at some point?
I had no any intentions to make mass production and even small production for other musicians. So for me, it was a big surprise because I knew that I a good engineer, but I didn't know that my ideas can be interesting for another musician. So I even didn't have in my mind. So I just did it for myself and just suddenly put it in the internet and started to receive a lot of requests, actually very crazy requests. Like I put it in my private Russian page in Vkontakte, maybe it's Russian network, so it's mostly inside of Russia. It's not like Facebook everywhere. So, and after some time, a guy from US wrote to me, "Oh, can you build for me the scenes?" I just asked him, "Okay, I can build, but just explain me, how did you find me?" So you are in the US, I am in Russia, the all posts in Russian. So I have a girlfriend, and my girlfriend has Russian friend, and this friend has friend of someone, Russian musician, and he showed to him this gear, and by this chain, and it came up to me. And after such stories, I got very bright understanding that it's really a very hot spot for musical thinking, for business. So it has sense. So in compare with music, sorry, I know that all of us are musicians, but for independent music, it's not a good time. So of course you can do everything, but it's very hard to earn money, very hard to be to run it like the same business, So often musicians need to find some additional work because they can't just feed themselves using this money from gigs or from recordings, especially recordings, of course. It's a gift for humanity, all recordings from.
I really what you said about these connections that happen. I really believe in that when you have something that's really special, like a special instrument, or even with special music. I don't think you have to like hardcore promote it. It's just it creates its own interest. If it's special enough, then it works kind of in this word of mouth way, and it just spreads so quickly. I don't know, that's my kind of belief that really the special things get out that way without having to have expensive promotion campaigns behind them.
Well, I mean, there's so much mediocrity that some stuff that is special kind of floats to the surface automatically, I guess. Yeah.
So actually, Soma don't use at the moment any usual promotion. So we have no paid advertisement. So, and we tried it, but it's absolutely incomparable.
You don't need it.
Yes, we don't need
it. It doesn't work.
Or if we will use it, we have to really spend a lot of money and make our gear more expensive. For me, it's very wrong way. So I don't like these things. Like I ask my users, please pay money, additional money for this gear will be sold to you. It's crazy. It's stupid. So for me, much better.
I prefer the YouTube videos you make with playing vegetables with forks and things like that. That's much more fun and more kind of eye-catching, I think.
Yeah, the first time I heard about the Lyra was not on the internet, but was word of mouth, which that's an exception, because most of the stuff that you find out about these days is through the internet, through promotion. So but that's cool.
Yeah.
So very simple formula. Just make something useful, and it will promote itself by itself. So it really works with Soma, and I'm very happy with it, because I really hate advertising. So I work everywhere.
It's the vegetables that gives me the confidence as a customer.
Good point.
Hey, there she is, the background lady.
Hey, Colleen. I saw John pop up as well. Hello, John.
I saw PJ. Nice. Hi, PJ. A lot of people I know.
That's a question for question for Vlad from RG. Did the Lyra name came from the classic Greek instrument?
Yes, but the reason is very simple, because Lyra 8 is just like 8 electronic tunable strings, like on classical Lyra. So it's not like full keyboard chromatic scale, but just very small amount of strings, but one can be tuned on your conscious decision on some scale. That is what.
Is it fair to say, Vlad, that you draw a lot of inspiration from traditional instruments, like more classical instruments, like things that you can play with your hands and that you have a direct connection with, rather than having a complicated interface in front of you, which makes you dive menus and interact with it in a more systematic way? Your instruments are all very directly accessible. So is that something you take from traditional instruments? Is that something you get inspired by?
Because all really great instruments, from violin to theremin, very simple observation. All of them lets musician to touch sound chord. Let's say sound chord. So the stuff that produce actually sound. So like theremin, why it's so genius? Because you really touch sound generator by your arm. Because you change this capacitance and it's produce different pitch and volume, but you really touch the generator by your arm. The same with all classical instruments, especially such expressive like bowed instruments, like Indian classical instruments. So European piano actually like more far from it, because you have a lot of mechanics between your fingers and strings. So the most expressive instruments, that one that allows you to touch strings or something that sounds directly. And I tried to use the same approach with synths because I got simple decisions. So it's not a problem with electronic way of synthesis. The problem is in structure of synthesis. So why we can't be so expressive, this like feelings like this violin, not because electronics is dead, but because you can't touch the sound core. And after I built in a such way, like Lyra 8, so you can touch everything, like Pulsar 23, you can touch everything, especially in Pulsar, it's even circuitry, you can touch by your fingers and be a part of the circuit. So, and it's immediately start to make absolutely another response, and you feel yourself like something live. So one of the most common reviews on Lyra 8, it behaves like a live creature, like a beast, not like a synthesizer, like a beast. And
it is a
very
beast.
simple. Yes, I draw this inspiration from classical instruments and mostly from observation why we have these feelings with these instruments. And the answer was, for my surprise, very simple, and it's absolutely applicable to contemporary electronic stuff as well.
Mm. Yeah, it makes the working with those type of instruments also less predictable and a bit more dangerous, even, you know, because you know that you are interacting with it, but you cannot predict entirely what's going to happen, because there's a little bit of a factor that the instrument has a life on its own, and you can manipulate it, but never completely guide it into a predictable direction. It's giving you feedback in a way. It's like a bandmate or something like that.
But I think the Lyra is the first instrument which kept the feedback minimum and maximum just inside the box. You know, I never had this feeling that Lyra will blow up my speakers or any kind of that. So in that way, I think it's one of the first instruments which got it all settled up in this square box. You know what I'm talking about. You have this feeling, Tony?
I was getting distracted by the question. What were you saying about the Lyra?
Yeah, that the Lyra is actually the only instrument which keeps the feedback from the sounds inside this little box. So there's no way to blow up your speakers. So Vlad really paid attention in the output that when
the
low
level
ends,
never gets, even when the sound goes crazy, the level doesn't get out of control.
Exactly. So when there's too much low end, it will like somehow compensate at the end, which is like fantastic.
I found the Lyra really interesting to use live, because I found the sound really opened out so much. In the studio, it almost it sounds very much really a lot of power in the mid range possibly, but when I used it on a sound system, the low and the high parts really opened out, and it was a lot. The sound was a lot richer and less. I don't know. It's very strong, but it had a smoother, richer quality to it over a sound system, which worked really, really well. And
I really
it's funny. Some instruments sound great in my studio, and I use them live, and they just sound awful.
Yeah.
And others. I mean, I'm sure Joachim's found that as well. But others, they really surprise you how, rich with the harmonics and stuff. And I think that's what I found with the Lyra. And unfortunately, I haven't yet had a chance to perform live with the Pulsar, actually on a sound system. I've done, the remote jams with Joachim, but so I'm really looking forward to hearing how that one sounds on a sound system, because I'm expecting that to sound really good as well.
So I really paid a lot of attention to these things that you just described. And for example, in Lyra, there is a built-in a kind of limiter that really watch for volume don't jump too high, because with all these crazy feedbacks, these analog synths, I notice it a lot, like it can really be very, very loud, and it's
that's what I meant, yeah.
So I really paid attention how it sound and make balancing. So despite it analog synths, there is like a special notes that make a kind of simple analog mastering on the end of Lyra 8 and create this special rich sound. The same with pulsar. So I even used for make this special pulsar sound, I even used operational amplifier from Soviet Union, because no one else amplifier can give this taste. The special Soviet Union IC that creates like a little bit flower. So I really pay attention of these things, and I really, because before I also worked like high-end engineer, so I built tube home systems with super nice sound, and I know how to tune all these things by like different capacitors, different materials inside. So of course, unfortunately I can't use them in mass production like tubes from 60s, but such things like operational amplifier from Soviet Union is possible to use. So I really use it, and that is why it have this rich harmony, not suddenly.
Someone was asking a question about how, whether you can make more subtle sounds with the pulsar, because all they've heard is very industrial stuff. But I think it has a really good range, and it's only, you know, if you watch videos when people are just, you know, ring modulating and distorting, of course it's gonna sound really, really heavy. But I think it has a good range, and you can make it sound clean if you want as well.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a clean. Everything
this
is
is an interesting one from Aura Music. Do you tune the Lyra before your live show, or do you improvise everything on the spot?
I've done it different ways. I've done it a lot of different ways. Sometimes I've tuned all 8 notes in the beginning just to start that way, but then I end up just going crazy with a couple of them, maybe, or maybe I just tune 4 for low notes and have the upper ones just wild. And so maybe sometimes I when I sound check, I'll tune it, and then during the performance it just goes where
you make a starting point just to get you going, and then you see where you just improvise and see where it ends up.
With the kind of modulation, you know, I found a way where I could tune the notes, but the way I'm using the modulation pots, I don't know what they're called exactly, but you can ride the tune totally and leave the main notes, the main pitch. So there's a way you can leave it in tune but be like freaking out all the other parameters. I don't know. I've used it in a lot of different ways, and it's more like, I would definitely say it's one of these instruments where it's best to ask, okay, what does the Lyra want to do, and not try to enforce my will on it. I have to be open and aware of what mood it's in, or what it wants to do, and it's more like a cooperation than me being the master and this is the machine, if that makes sense. So I get the most out of it when I'm listening to it more.
In that sense you could say it's a band member or something that talks back to you, I guess.
I was in the beginning. I was using it from the left side, like more bassy sounds, which I tuned before my set, and then keeping my right side just for the higher notes, because as you noticed, the left part is lower in oscillators. So yeah, or just use the left part as a modulation source for the rest of it. So yeah, it has a lot of flexible ways, and bring some coins with you, like Robin showed me, and it really works nice. So
I
you
saw
can
that,
have
but
your bowl.
I
Yeah.
always forgot to try putting a coin on the on the pressure pad. But I often use it in this like continuous sustain,
in the hold
drone kind of mode. I think a lot of the recently I've been using that almost more than doing so much touching the pads. But yeah, I mean, I end up using it differently each time, really.
Yeah, that's Vlad's intention, I guess. But the thing is, if you use it like you just mentioned, like a drone thing, and then you start like bringing CV in on the back, you get like really, really, really nice sequences. A lot of people are not aware of it. They think it's just a drone machine, but you can do like really musical stuff actually with it.
Yeah, with the using the two kind of LFOs and the way that they interact with each other and the different and/or kind of thing. That's such a great way of generating such weird sequences, and then using that to modulate the delay. I don't know. These are all like completely unrepeatable, but different every time. These weird.
So I guess you've used it in a studio as well, then, Tony. And do you then just record everything that comes out and then use bits of it, or do you use the whole performance and build stuff around it, or use it in its entirety as a solo improvisation thing? What is the approach for that in studio?
I have used it in quite subtle ways in the studio, but it's just such a fun live instrument, and it sounds so great.
Never gets boring.
I mean, the first really, I'd only had it a really short while, and me and Dan did a Transcendence Orchestra gig in London, and I was just so shocked at it was in the crypt of an old church, and literally the ceiling was falling down from the bass, and I was like, "Yeah, come on!" And I would hit these notes, and it was like resonating the room. And and everyone's looking a little bit scared. They're like, "I thought this was an ambient show."
Yeah, we had it like, Vlad. We had
it's turned into black metal.
We had it at Superfood, so
it was really, it was kind of a really nice shock surprise to hear how heavy it was.
Yeah, exactly.
So Glenn, you said you use it in the studio as well, right? And
well, I was lucky to have a Lyra pretty fast. I have it, I think, more than almost 3 years now, almost like that. So when I first got it, I was like Tony said, I was like so surprised what this thing was capable of. And I know I got into the studio and I was like, okay, let's do an album with this new kind of sound in my box, and that's where I did Roscosmos, and it went very, very smoothly, and I did like really one takes over an entire track, changing pitch and everything. So I just recorded it, and it turned out really good at the end. I didn't do that much editing, so yeah, you can do like really one take song with it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Let's encourage people to ask any of us questions, because usually I'm very bad in keeping an eye on the comments, but I see a lot of activity. So if anybody has any questions specifically for one of us, let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. What CV sources would you recommend to feed into the Lyra? Maybe you want to. Oh, your fingers? Yeah, your hands.
Maybe I don't know.
No, you can do anything in there. When it comes to CV, I did some tests, and it goes really crazy. But if you come from an ordinary sequencer, it just like plays like really basic notes. If the tuning is right,
Is this the CV jack in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I never tried that.
You need to make the contact. So when there's contact, you can put the CV inside, and then it's so you can play like actually with an external sequencer, but you still have this Lyra sound without VCA. So it's still long. It plays notes, but without VCA or envelopes, and that's where things get interesting. Taking the output of the Lyra back into filter, external envelope filter, GCA filter. So it's you can chop it up.
So Vlad, is it? I had a question for you about this. Is the connectivity of the instruments? Is it a compromise or is it an addition for you? Because since the instruments are primarily designed as performance instruments, I could imagine that any connectivity would kind of sort of change the function or change the idea about what people can have about the instrument.
So I firstly would like to give some secret receipt for previous questions. So try to connect to CV ins, especially to CV pitch, another synth or drum machine. Try to connect some sound. So you can modulate Lyra voices by another synth, and you can get absolutely amazing result, because it will be like a hard sync to this another synth that could be in perfect tune or some drum line, and it start to react by all this Lyra craziness.
It's like an envelope follower type thing or something.
Much more crazy. It's a kind of crazy FM modulation. So if you will connect another synth, it start to be like outsourced FM source, but it will work rather like a hard sync, especially in some points of this mod knob. So you can get from strange equalization to real FM using another sound source, especially maybe drum line. So you can create a lot of crazy stuff. Also, try to use the same with TV in for delay.
Yes.
So
very interesting.
People got this idea because everybody thinks that CV is something slow, like from sequencer, but try to use sound source. So I promise you will be surprised a lot.
So you feed a sound source into the CV in. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a radio.
Just another synth or drum machine. CV in for pitch and CV in for delay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Cat came.
There he is.
Oh no, the cat is going to destroy.
And the next question is compromise between connectivity and so. Could you please remember once again the second question?
Well, I mean, there is some various possibilities to connect the machines to be talking to other instruments or like inputs of other machines. But like you said, or not like you said, but I get the idea that the instruments are very much performance instruments. So basically, human input is probably the main way of inputting data to play with it, right? And I was just wondering,
So Pulsar is totally open. You can connect to Pulsar almost everything. With Lyra, it's like things without any. So actually, I did all these sockets on the rear panel more because people ask me. So, oh, I need CV, blah blah. But Lyra, first of all, is for it's like violin. It has no CV in, it has no MIDI in. So, and also really Lyra, it's not just that kind of crazy old circuitry. It's very hard driven by any CV because it's absolutely another approach. There is no VCO inside. That is why I called it not VCO, but voice, but something like, I don't remember, generator, because it's absolutely another approach. So you can't drive it by CV, or you have to change a lot Lyra circuitry, and it starts to be like stupid 8-voice synthesizer. So it will lose 90% of its unique character. So it's very special circuitry inside. Very, very hard to drive it by CVs, especially MIDI. Yes, absolutely. It will kill all Lyra beautifulness if I will try to put MIDI.
Mm.
It's still fun though. It's still fun to do it. There's no theory, but it's fun. So yeah.
Question from Split Radix: did the EMS Synthi A influence the Lyra design at all?
Yes, I kind of. So at least Synthi and such things gave to me a lot of inspirations how flexible and expressive things can be. So a lot of nuances, because I'm a hunter for nuances. I really don't like in contemporary machines this steady sound. So each note is the same, or I just hear stupid LFO make something. But it's not like the subtle details like in acoustic instruments, like EMS Synthi, when really each note, and even inside of one note, you hear a lot of small changes, something like breathing, and it makes this like feelings. Oh, this is I would like to hear to it. I'm not boring with this sound, even if it's just one note, like Synthi moments. But it can create a lot of things. So yes,
me, that kind of the chaos in the sound is like it's really hard to describe, but for me it's like almost a spiritual thing somehow. Just this I don't know, you're plugging into the chaos of the whole universe. I find it difficult to describe, but no, for me it's a real thing about something that there's a deep spirituality in music that for me personally this plugs into, and the idea of the drone, an eternal note or something like that, but also the connecting with this chaos of the universe. I don't have really good words to describe it, but for me it's something that I really feel, and this stuff connects with that. I don't know, am I crazy?
No.
Does anyone else agree with that?
No, I'll save you. No,
Good.
it's true though. Yeah. It's true though that I'm instruments like the Synthi or the Lyra, I would describe the sound kind of like as sound worlds. It's like there's so much going on. There's so many frequencies, resonances, and things interacting with each other. Although on the surface it might sound like one note or sort of like a one-dimensional thing, but something in the quality of the way the sound is generated makes it insanely complex. And the more you tune into it, the more you listen to it, the more you hear. And I think that's what you mean, Tony, by things that on the surface might sound quite simple or drony or one note or continuous. They can actually be insanely complex in terms of sonics and have occupy a huge space without any obvious dynamics. They could still be the more you listen, the more you hear, kind of thing.
I don't know, it's very deep, and like I don't know, maybe I'll stop talking before I get myself into trouble.
I think,
I don't know.
seriously, man,
I find it hard to express,
I mean,
to describe, but
yeah,
you know
but
what I'm trying to say.
people who are into using electronic gear and have a experience with sound design or just improvising on machines, I'm sure they can relate to what you were saying, because that's the thing you are actually looking for, right? If you are making some sounds, you want to end up in territory which kind of completely absorbs everything around you and basically makes you focus on only that you are hearing. And that is the state you want to get at. That's the state you want to be in when you are performing. You want to be one with the sound. And I'm pretty sure that most people who are into making electronic music or even any music are familiar with that feeling.
I always think about. I've been mentioned this several times on the Knob Twiddlers, but I keep coming back to this idea, and it always strikes me when you think about throughout human history, human beings' relationship to music. It's a really recent thing that music has been about entertainment. For much more of human history, music was a connection to God or some kind of spiritual thing. And I really remember that relationship. That's really important to me. And the idea of music as entertainment or product is a very, it's only in the last century or something.
Probably
really.
since recording started happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So
yeah, because before recording, it was also always like almost like an oral tradition, like you learn songs by having them played to you, or and the process of making music has not, has probably always been more a community event, or like a celebration with others, rather than sitting by yourself writing notes down onto a paper. That's just that's a recent thing. But yeah, absolutely.
So I just like to remember that, and I don't know, it's important to me. Anyway, maybe I should keep this stuff to myself.
No, it's cool. No, it makes total sense. Absolutely.
No,
I can
I think
say interesting things. So one of reason why I started to make my own instruments was mass industry, cheaper and cheaper, with quite complex circuitry, forced engineers of big companies make circuitry in another way. So if you take in comparison EMS Synthi and contemporary, even analog polyphonic, let's say something, since contemporary circuitry, all these things will be focused how to make perfect tune, how to make as simple as possible assembling and tuning, because big circuitry, if you open, for example, old synthesizers, you will find a lot of trimmer pots, right? And you have to tune it one day, for example, just to make perfect tune for one voice. And if you open contemporary analog synths, you will not find any trimmer pots. What does it mean? It means that circuitry significantly changed, and now it looked mostly for stability. That is why contemporary synths lost this quality of esoteric connection with the universe. Because if you need this connection, you need vice versa, emphasize this breathing of the circuitry. So like EMS Synthi breathes, it's really hard to tune this synth. But if you win this quest, you will find, you will get a perfectly live instrument. It's like your like partner, not just tool, but partner. And I brought back this old circuitry to Lyra. So I used very, very old approaches, very unstable. So I did vice versa. I bring back and emphasize this instability. And through this instability, all this breathing of the universe, through all these physical parts, like just imagine. So even one resistor, it's a whole universe inside, because it's billions, quadrillions of particles, moves, and it's affect sound. So if you have a way how, and it's really like Tony, you said it's really connected with the whole universe, because it's a lot of quantum effects inside, especially in semiconductors, and all the universe affects its behavior. But if you don't allow them to express this breathing, so contemporary circuitry don't allow it. So you need to use something more wild, something more unpredictable a little bit. But in return, you will get this spiritual, esoteric, ritual feelings, like from the old music, like ancient music. So like you still in the forest. Okay, this is forest built from semiconductors, but it's real forest. And then you will start to feel yourself like a spiritual musician, not like entertainment. So it was my actually intention. So that is why it acts this way. So the special tricks with circuitry that creates this feeling.
Yeah, and also I think, you know, when we talk about tuning, you know, because that has come up a few times. There are multiple ways to look at tuning, right? I mean, there are something can be forced to a scale, which then would be tuned, you know, but something can also just make sense in terms of harmonics and you know, frequencies, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in tune according to a scale, but it can still make total sense in terms of harmonics and frequency and the way it resonates in your brain, or you know, the way you feel about it, and that is something that is indeed hard to get with instruments that are designed to stay in tune, and you get them more with instruments that are kind of doing wild things, like Vlad said, you know, like have these sort of coincidental things introduced in the mix to create this uncertainty and things that would normally not be considered in tune, but that they can still feel like they're resonating in the right way.
Yeah, like I said before about with using the lyra live, I felt like I was tuning it to the room, the space I was playing it in. That was really fun. Instead of tuning it to a scale, it was just about picking out the resonances in the room, and that was pretty fun. That was my tuning scale.
Awesome.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Vlad as well something about the aesthetics, because I think there's a very clear aesthetic, not only in the way the instruments look, but also the way they sound. Is that something you pay attention to as well? Because since now you've explained how you introduce all these uncertainties into the circuitry to make it sound not as boring as other instruments, they do have a sound to them. They do have like a certain character, which is very unmistakably your sound. So how do you approach that? Do you have a certain sound in mind, or is this something that is comes from your taste or your preferences? Can you talk about that a bit?
So maybe it's combination of my approach that I developed during past work as sound engineer and like a musician, but also it's my reflection on what I'm feeling from contemporary world. So contemporary world resonates in me quite specifically. So for example, I can't say that it's beautiful feelings. That is why my instruments a little bit harsh. At least they have possibility to be harsh. Lyra, pulsar, it can go to hard range of sound. Because for me, we have really very challenging time and really complex situation now in the humanity and planet. So as a musician, I am very sensitive to all these things. So I think any honest musician try to reflect at least a little bit outer world and his honest feelings about what's going on. So maybe it's a kind of my resistance, my protest against such things, some things that I feel and watch and know. That is why this specific sound. So, for example, I adore old music. I listen a lot Indian classical music to Persian classical music. Of course, they use beautiful instruments, but it's don't connect with contemporary world anymore. I can't hide myself in beautiful meditation. Sorry. So, despite I love it, that is why I create such sounds. In my opinion, it better resonate with real world that's around us. That's why I choose this specific way. So actually, like old electronic instruments, we are not in 60s anymore. So absolutely another feelings from contemporary time. I am very sensitive to such things. That is why I create such sounds. That's the answer.
And
Okay.
did you make you made I saw you made the lyra to communicate with whales. Do you remember this video with the pictures on your?
Subconsciousness of whales. Subconsciousness of whales.
Ah, sorry, yeah. It
It
was,
was
yeah,
Lyra
I
4, right? It was
yeah,
Lyra
Lyra
that
4.
was it.
It was
With
Lyra 4.
the pictures on the hands and the story about the Russian experiments to communicate with the subconscious of whales.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That was a
Yeah.
good one, and I liked how people they were asking me if it was a true story, and we'll never know.
I think I will leave it on your decision. Is it a real story or not? Better a secret, like some fairy tale, or I don't know, some something hidden. So on your on your decision. So it could be
I
might
like to think it's true.
real
Yeah,
story from secret Soviet Union research work for military purpose.
yeah.
So, on your decision.
Another question for Vlad. What other instrument builders or inventors do you like and why?
Actually, I like all contemporary guys that do something really new, like the guy who made continuum fingerboard. It's Leopold. Sorry, I have trouble with names. So uh, uh, maybe if you can remember me, do you know this continuum
Yeah,
fingerboard? So
Haken, I think.
Haken Leopold, something like this.
Yeah.
Also, Rob Horjic, who creates Little Box. So I think it's also brilliant. Whole tech guy. So I really love his stuff, and he did a lot of great things, exactly like I love. So real partisanic stuff. So also there is, so sorry, Stefan Schmidt, if I don't mistake, Nonlinear Lab and C15. So amazing polyphonic digital synths. The only digital synths that really draw my attention past maybe 5-7 years. So it's excellent mix of FM synthesis with wave shapers, with crazy feedbacks, with FX units, and it's really sounds in this way that I like, that I feel that synth has to sound. So these contemporary guys, of course, for me, such guys like Theremin is still maybe the greatest icon, this simplicity. So the most famous synth, the only one synth that still, and the only thing that's recognizable in academical music, and this synth has just two knobs, volume and tune, nothing else. So two knobs synth, and people still love it, and it's really revolutionary, still revolutionary, and all synths grows up so very complex, but theremin still like 100 years ago. So nothing changed actually. So genius circuitry that despite electronic past 5 epochs, science invention of theremin, the circuitry, the principle of theremin, still the same. And only these two knobs, simple knobs, tune and pitch, but this amazing way how you interact with these knobs, so it's like an air around you, still makes these things outstanding. So nothing can be compared with theremin, with stability, with recognition, with history. So I still use it like maybe one of the biggest icons because I love simplicity. I think true things usually simple than complex. So such things.
Are you familiar with the stuff that Folk Tech is making?
Yeah, so I have it's on my home, but I watched a lot of his demo videos.
Yeah, I think I've got the Resonant Garden, which is the one with the strings sticking out, and it reminds me, playing with that reminds me a lot of your instruments. It's very physical interaction, and you never really know what's going to happen, so you kind of guide it and sort of interact with it, and it's always beautiful, but never exactly predictable. So it's like more like with your stuff, you kind of go on a ride with the instrument. It's pretty cool.
Also such guys like Game Changer, I really like these guys. So they so maybe the most lovely instrument, their last product with spring pedal, spring reverb, with two waves of sound capturing, like old one with magnetic pickup and infrared pickup that can make like modulation. So along the spring, it moves like infrared light and captures sound from different points of this spring. So I think it's totally genius design and really absolutely incredible sound. So I love guys who try to jump out of the box and like honest research, not just think, oh, if I will copy this famous machine, I will earn XXX months, but trying to follow their hearts, their passion, real passion, and the real passion is crazy every time. In all people, real passion is crazy, it's unique flavor, and like as a consequence, it's something unique in development if this passion was applied to circuit.
Yes.
So, you've basically, now we've talked about these instruments that make sound, but you've also just recently done this the Ornament sequencer, which doesn't make sound by itself. What's the idea behind that?
So first of all, Ornament was made by Vadim Minkin, so really a genius guy. Thanks God now Soma have several engineers who are inventors. So it was his idea, and when I saw the first prototype, I was really very glad that with the result, and then together we developed it to ready construction. The idea is to change once again, to jump off from the box and stop to use this 8 steps or 64 steps, but go outside from just a memory, any kind of memory, and you scan it with some temp. So any sequencer, for the moment, it's just a tape recorder, let's say. Okay, it can be complex, it can be go back and then forth, and then like this, and then like this, but it's still a tape, and you just read it with different speed from different points, even if you take the most complex sequence. Ornament, absolutely another approach, absolutely another design. So it's generated. There is no memory at all. So it's just some organism. Once again, it's organism that interacts inside and outside and creates some behavior. And that is why it can really compose music. So I have demo videos where ornament to ornaments play big composition without get the same pieces of music, so without any repeating. And for us, it was totally amazing discovery cause ornament totally analog. So there is no digital parts. It's simple analog circuitry. So it's like analog computer that can work with time. That's the difference. So it works with time, and it can create such complex, interesting behavior. So it's a huge area for new explorations, and we still discover new things with ornament. Just recently we discovered how play perfectly beats in perfect grid. So it's also possible. We are going to make demo video about it soon, and we can even sync it to something outside. So for us, it's also like journey. So the idea is to use sequencer also like a partner, not like a recorder, like you use.
So in what amount is the interaction by the user required? Can it be just a generative thing, like you can just have it play by itself, or how much is the human interaction important to get results out of it?
So both sides are possible. So it can be totally generative, and it can be totally interactive, because you can just a question how you patch it, because you can patch it in this way that it will not play it itself at all, but you will ornament is like a billiard. So you give him like hit, like impulse, and then it start to flow in the circuitry. If you make a loop, that in start to flow infinite time. But if you make open loops, open waves, you will hit these impulses, but it will end during some time. So you can play it totally manual, and without you, it will not play. Also, there is a lot of shades in the middle, because you can make infinite flow on these impulses, and then just change, moderate how it flows and how it interacts. So you can play on ornament, but it's really very, very new instrument. Even we inventors don't know how to use it still. don't.
It'll be like HAL on 2001.
Yeah, yeah.
Start locking the doors and not letting you out.
Yeah, ornament.
And Glenn, you have you've played around with it, right? What's your experience so far?
Well, I did a few things, but it's very random. So we all know we're in this techno structure, but if you're not going really strange in times, and this is really something new. It's not, it's like Vlad said, it's not like really that kind of sequencer we used to feel in our hands, like just dialing in some notes and it starts repeating itself. So it's really, it has so many, because of the two power sources, you can connect like different things to it, and it starts acting as one major brain for the pulsar and lyra. So it's like something extra for your chain, but it's really, yeah. So far, I'm not an ornament user that much. I'm more focused on pipe and any new kind of things in that region. So, but yeah, it's very unique. That's for sure. So it's not like any ordinary thing out there. So it's individual cells as well. So it's not like, yeah, I think Vlad can explain it. It's not like this typical forward or backward or just weird.
First of all, ornament is totally horizontal structure. So
Yes.
8 equal cells and no master node that run everything or conduct everything. So, and they interact with each other and create some behavior. And because they are equal, you can combine together any amount of ornaments. So 4, 10 ornaments can be combined together and create something totally
Yeah, but let's figure out one. Let's just start with one. So.
Yes, start with one. So yeah, so
I-
I think we will hear what Ornament can do maybe 3-5 years forward. So humanity
Yeah.
needs time to explore and understand how to manage it. So
we have
this
to
is
grow
very
bigger brains to understand how to use it.
Yeah, the thing is, you start with it and you're like jamming in like 2-3 hours, and it looks like 5 minutes. So it's like really.
Time compression. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I only saw some videos, so I don't know when we're able to do some gigs, then I hopefully get my hands on one.
Yeah, we should do one. Maybe we should plan something in the future.
For sure.
Why not? We can hook like few ornaments together and see where we come up.
Oh yeah. I'm afraid to. Yeah, if you hooked up several together, then it would really become something that was alive.
Yeah, I don't think so. This is really something like random in the I don't know, much more random than we ever ever came up with, Tony. This thing
Well,
is
this
wild.
Yeah,
this
better
is
not try to understand it then.
yeah. From
Yeah.
Omvar made that comment, and I think that might actually be the best way to deal with it. If it would take years to unlock its secrets, why not just play with it and enjoy the results, without really try to explain what's going on. Voodoo.
Voodoo. Yeah, there's a lot of voodoo coming. Flat.
but it can be totally controlled and totally not chaotic. So it depends on a patch you did. So
Yeah,
it can be totally stable, predictable, and even playing grid.
yeah. But we're still trying to understand it.
Yeah, the
Right.
quantum ocean.
Yeah.
Nano Simonis is asking Vlad a question. What was your motivation and inspiration for creating the quantum ocean?
My own practice. So I use a device like quantum ocean since maybe 2012, or around 8 years in my personal life, personal practice, and I found it very useful. So that is why I decided it was a hard decision because it's totally crazy, the most crazy instrument I did or piece of gear. But I decided maybe someone will need and enjoy and have this benefit that I got. So my personal practice, that's the answer. So I really use it a lot, quite a lot, of course, not every day, but quite a lot in my personal, let's say, spiritual life. So for me, it's like possibility to hear unhearable, really. So I use it like a window to another side of the world, like
A portal.
invisible, something like a portal, right? And I got many times using this portal, I got really very useful information. So when I need some information that I have no, like I just have some, can just focus my attention, but can't give some information. For example, people, some person that I just know a name or just stupid photo, and I need to get to know more about this person. I use quantum motion, and often I really get very useful information. And then in the future, it starts to be approved by experience that yes, this information was right. That is why I decided maybe another other persons, people will also be have some benefits from this device. But seems to be it's most hard instruments that I create. So not too many people can use it in some efficient way. So it's very depends. Seems to be this person needs to have some special brain to use quantum motion, special model of brain.
I have a quantum motion, and I used it at first, but I got a little out of the habit of it, so I haven't used it for a while. But I found really, I got some really quite intense effects from it, as a kind of focal point for a meditation. Just the way that I could tell the sound was, it's like a type, I guess, isn't it like a type of white noise almost, but it's not, it's irregular. And there's something about that, almost like what we talked about with the sound of unstable synthesizers, where you start to hear this infinity in it. It's almost like staring right into infinity or something, and it's
white noise on a television.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like that, but it's in a more refined sort of way.
More subtle.
It's very subtle, but I actually had some really pretty intense experiences using it, really, and really different each time. I haven't, maybe I haven't got so focused with it, but yeah, it was really interesting device, but just something that I like the way that it encouraged me. It's like Joachim said earlier, where something on the surface seems quite simple, but then you begin, when you listen to it closer and closer, you notice more and more about it and more subtleties, and it invites you to look closer and closer, and it's like encouraging you to meditate.
Yeah, it's kind of inviting you to zoom in more.
Yeah, and zoom in so much that you're like, I don't know, really high or something.
Yeah, I think that's the goal of not playing too many notes. It's not about playing notes or chords. It's about playing that single note and see how far it can resonate into the space.
Actually, I can tell a little bit story of quantum motion. So when I went to release, like closer to release, so okay, I would like to make it like a mass product. I tried to put to quantum motion some knobs for tuning of this sound and some slow modulations. So the sound will have real things that you can change. But then I discarded all of them, because the most deep state you will have when you have nothing to tune, and you have just this infinity, because each like pop decision, so maybe it is most not marketing decision, because if I will put to quantum motion 5 knobs, of course I can sell much more. But I decided not to do this way, because it's like pure Zen. So now quantum motion is pure Zen. It's focus you to, like you said, exactly on infinity. So you just finally do nothing, like you don't weak any knobs. You like in informational vacuum in one hand, but in the other hand you're in information infinity, like infinite amount of information. And on this line, you really can find something really interesting, like crackle in your mind, crackle in the world, and you can jump inside and really find very interesting experience there. That is why I decided, okay, I will be brave and leave it without tuning possibilities, but like a pure Zen. So
I'm sure it confused a lot of people, which is always a good thing.
Would you still call it an instrument though, because it seems to require less interaction with it?
Yes, okay, not instrument, shamanic gear.
Yeah.
It's like a meditation tool or something.
Yeah, it's really.
It's not really. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really use the sound in my productions or something. It's more like a meditation tool or something. But
But just imagine, I know a guy who did real gigs, like half an hour gigs, using just quantum motion. So nothing else. Just quantum motion, big venue, and just imagine, people even not went outside. They start, first of all of them, almost all of them, staying during the performance and even start to dance close to the end. So,
nice. Dancing to white noise, brilliant.
yes, dancing to white noise, really. For me, it was a big surprise and big pleasure to get to know about this experience. So people was very happy, and some of them came to this musician and said, "Oh, it was very nice performance, but too short."
Yeah, it should have. Yeah, much longer.
Yeah, I guess when your brain is fed with like a constant signal, whether it's either whether it's visual or audio, it starts to fill in the blanks. It starts to kind of project things rather than just be saturated with overload. If you leave space for your brain to relax, it starts generating rather than just consuming. I guess
And
that's the trick, right?
But
I go to give to hear it myself.
I looked at the waveform. I recorded the quantum motion. I looked at the waveform, and I can see quite
Oh,
clearly
you analyzed
that it's not. It's. I mean, you can hear if you really focus that it isn't a regular and stable thing. And you look at a waveform, and you can see that as well. That it's not just this like white noise loop or something. It's definitely got more instability. And that's the kind of the secret sauce that tweaks your brain, I think.
Yes, for sure. Because white noise you have in your computer, you can compare. You will not get.
Cool. Let's see what else. Are there any more questions from the audience? Again, trying to involve your ideas and questions as much as possible and not ignore you too much, as I always do. A question for Vlad again. What was the Murtzin's ANS sequencer an inspiration for your designs? And what do you think of Artemyev's score of Tarkovsky films?
So INS is a very unique instrument. It's the only one piece over the world, the only one totally optical synthesizer from 60s. And yes, it's amazing. So, but it's so, actually I can say it's so unique and so outstanding that it's really hard to use it like inspiration, because like no successors of this synthesizer. Yes, we have like something like mobile applications that can scan any picture and make some sound, but absolutely not the same feelings from real INS, because real INS is totally weird. And yes, Artemyev's score for Tarkovsky that was made on INS, it's very, very nice, like Solaris movie, amazing soundtrack. But also like this shamanism of this old way of making music, because with these instruments like INS, maybe you know how it works, so you need to draw all scores on special black plates, like black glasses covered by some ink, and you have to scratch it, and this way you create some scores. So it's mystery. So even the way how you create the scores is pure mystery, and it cannot be another like this mystery soundtracks from the old book. So in my childhood, I read an old magic book, Papyrus, maybe you know, like Black Magic from Papyrus, and there was very nice tip. So for this ritual, you need to get a magical stone. How to get magical stone? Go in the middle of the night to very far mountain, and better if it will be rainy or something like this, and pick some stone and bring back to your home, your laboratory, and then like small tips. So actually, it doesn't not important the stone. Important that you spend so many times and effort trying to get it, trying to get in it. And that's the create the magic. So you really need to swipe to get this stone. The same with INS and maybe my instruments as well. So you need to really spend your energy, because this total automatization, like contemporary digital instruments, you just have one button, create, hit, and super hit, two buttons. So
it's all one of my frequent bugbears that I always bring up here is the way that so many instruments are sold with the words quick and easy. They and this is not always like the best thing, but anyway.
Yes, so you need to spend your time, attention, energy if you need to get something back. So, and INS definitely was this is very hard thing, very hard thing to play, but absolutely amazing output. So was it's for me it's inspiration like an approach. I can't use this circuitry or this. At least for the moment. But I really use this brave approach for creation of music. Like it's magical act for me, designers.
Yeah, Soma Zanzibar. Maybe we can talk about that later because I was still on the synth subject here. Have you checked out the Alta Music 50 Solar? I saw it. I don't think anybody of us has experience with it, but it looked like another sort of different kind of approach of a synth. Have you checked it out? Any of you?
No. Well, I checked some videos, but I never got it.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
The Solar 50.
Yeah, it's just a synth with 50 oscillators and
yeah.
And I think they can all be tuned individually, or they can be grouped, or they can be played from some small keyboard with just only 6, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like a full keyboard, but it's anyway. I was just wondering because I think that might have actually been inspired by the way Vlad designs instruments, because you can see it in other projects happening as well, like more sort of unconventional input methods or ways to interact with synths. I think it's a very welcome addition to whatever it's been as is around, just to have these other more sort of exotic instruments coming out. But anyway.
For me, it's really a big pleasure if I can inspire another sound designers and other engineers to make something different, something new. I just only glad. So Solar 50 definitely not a copy of Lyra 8 or its notes. So it's unique sound design and unique circuitry and some notes really, I think, really genius in this synthesizer. So if it has some connection with Lyra, I'm just happy, and it means that my ideas are worth to live in the future. So if people will make something based on these ideas, it's like child, so my ideas that will live in future time. I just happy people will do it.
Yeah, awesome. The other thing, let's just bring that up then. The Soma Zanzibar. I was talking to you in the pre-chat because we found that thing on your website, and actually Glenn mentioned mentioned it while he was here. You are creating a place for people they can to go to and make music, have studio time and a holiday, like almost on the beach in Zanzibar, right? What's the idea behind it? Can you explain?
So it's not almost, it's real beach of the ocean. So you can bring your equipment so close that it will be wet from this water. So the idea is as well, like with creation of Soma equipment, we're trying to do these things that we lack ourselves in this world. So all of us would like to have some holidays, some vacations, but personally, I don't like vacations in normal resort. It's not people that I feel like my people, right? So I need not only take sun baths and be more more brown, but I would like to have some conversation, some I don't know, to see some phrases. I really have some questions to this.
Vacations that are forced to a scale.
So
Totally.
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I decided to create some unique place for creative people, because we are crazy guys. We need crazy surrounding, and most of us really don't like to waste time. We just take some bath, right? So much better if you can do something in parallel, right? And that is why I decided that this is really nice idea to gather creative people from different areas of art, maybe not only art, science, doesn't matter. Smart, creative people, then have something to share. So it could be like round tables at evening, master classes right on the beach. So each most of guys that will come will have some unique experience, like guys on this hangout. So a lot of things that can be uh, can be explained or share some knowledge and make new collaboration right on the beach, right? So it's very nice. And of course, because we are music company, of course, music studio, and you can create your music, record new albums or tracks for new albums, your new work right on the beach in the studio, and we think we will make the studio like breakfast will be included. So if you live in this hotel, you can use the studio, or like you go on breakfast in the morning. So, and
Where
I
would
think
where do we sign up, Vlad?
Oh yeah. We're ready.
Yeah.
I had some. Uh, I had the experience of I made some years ago. I made a couple of albums that I recorded in Maui, and it was on a friend's property, and she has like this 2 acre lot, and half of it is literally like the jungle. It's like this big dip, and there's this hut that she built down there with just like a insect screen, but it's in a way it's totally open. The wind blows in, but it stops the mosquitoes coming and eating you. And there's like a long mains cable coming down from the house, but when you sit in there, you're literally in the jungle, and you don't feel like you're near civilization at all. So I was able to use a Buchla music easel and just using little battery powered speakers, and then set you know a recorder to get the acoustics and also the jungle noises and stuff. But anyway, what I meant to say is having make recording music and making music in such a different environment, it totally, it made it completely different. My relation to the music and the instrument and everything, I really enjoyed how different that was to record in a different place. So I can see how that could work with this Zanzibar place, where you take someone who's used to working in a certain way, you know, like Joachim in Stoor or something, and you go to Zanzibar and it's completely different, and it's really fun and interesting to explore the effect of such a different environment on your creation and your music.
Well, if we could pick up the bunker and put it on some beach, you know, then I would do it instantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's true what you say though, because like an environment has a really big influence on how your music sounds. You know, this place is really, you know, it feels like a cellar. You know, it reminds you of like sweaty club basement or something. You know,
It has a really
like
strong atmosphere though.
yeah,
Really,
it does.
you really feel it. It's good.
Yeah, but of course the jungle is like probably, or the beach would be the complete opposite of a downtown bunker. But yeah, I've done music in locations which are radically different from usual studio environments, and you definitely approach things really differently. I think also because maybe the pace of life is different there. You know, it's you know, everything, you can let things breathe a little bit more. I think if you're in a studio, you feel like you have to accomplish something, otherwise you're wasting your time, and you can maybe, or I don't know, I'm just thinking about it now, but maybe you tend to be more sort of result focused rather than just letting things happen. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. It was a totally different experience for me to record in a hut in the jungle than
What was different? What was actually different apart from the physical location, but the sort of your mindset? How did it change your mindset?
well, my mindset being there anyway. I mean, I don't know. Maui is it's a really interesting place because people maybe have this kind of beach paradise idea about it, but actually it's a really kind of wild, kind of brutal place because I don't know, your relation to, you know, the waves are big, the sun is strong, the wind is strong, the rain is strong, everything is like kind of maximum. But I don't know, like you were saying about just letting things happen at their own pace as well. You know, I could just sit down in this hut all day. I didn't have any, because I was on the island for a long time, so it wasn't like, okay, I'm on holiday for 1 week. You know, I could spend as much time as I wanted doing that. So it was really free and open, and I could just spend the time exploring stuff instead of feeling like I had a time constraint.
Awesome. So Vlad, is the Zanzibar project something that is already set up, or are you still working on it? When is it going to be operational?
We hope that we will be able to receive first guest within several months, but it will go to full operating mode, I think, within 1 year, something like this, because it's really quite a lot of unexpected challenges from coronavirus that blocks whole touristic business and our possibilities simply fly and manage this place. And also, Africa is not Europe, it's not Russia, so there's special rules, and we still learn how to manage all these things. So it's in some way.
Are you involving the local community in any way with this project?
Sure. So we involve in local community, and actually we have amazing connection with one of the most ancient community in Tanzania, Maasai people, Maasai villages, Maasai people. They still live like 3,000 years ago. They use very simple equipment, so very simple tools, and they really, it's their choice. They know that there is civilization somewhere around, but it's their conscious choice. And we had a lot of amazing communities. They work like guardians in our place, because Maasai people, excellent guardians. So if you need to protect some areas, they are hunters. They can struggle with lion face by face without any machine gun or something like this. They still use as a gun a simple stick, even not I don't know how does it call this sharp stuff, metallic sharp
Spear.
stuff. It's even not spear, it's just stick, and very simple sword, even with very simple handle without these supports. So, and they do it consciously. So they open to nature, and they are still a part of nature, and they are very powerful in this side, and it's amazing. So we saw how they dance, how they live, and they make like introduction to their culture, and it's amazing. And we really would like that they share this experience, this absolutely amazing forgotten life in civilized part of the world with our guests. So we really deep inside try to be deep inside in this community, and we have some communication. And my first idea was better let's local musicians play to our guests than bring, I don't know, famous DJ from UK to play some gig of I don't know, techno, because you can hear it in London, not a problem, and anyway, and much better to hear local music, local approach. So I was really amazed by this even inner quality of this music, these people, because they are as a base for music have absolutely another thing. So they have shared their happiness, their friendship, their some very strong states. Doesn't matter what instruments, does it tuned or not. So absolutely another approach, and it's really amazing. So when you get inside of this community, you start to feel another way, think another way, and you change your mind and your approach to life. Really, so it's my experience of our my partners in Soma. So it's really worth it. And yes, we are trying to be inside the community and keep connection with it, because it's very interesting.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. So when is our flight?
Yeah. Just waiting for the flight.
Yeah, Tony, maybe you should try this traveling thing where we earlier talked about. Just try it.
The traveling thing.
We go to Zanzibar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we're just waiting for them to open things up a little.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm really looking forward.
All of you are invited. So when we will be ready to open,
I know.
Very, very ready. We will be very glad to see all of you, and let's be the part of our Zanzibarian community. So we really expect that there is a lot of amazing people will be there, and amazing friendship, amazing communication, new projects. I hope will born right on the beach.
Between the banana trees. Nice. Yeah, question from Sander from Stoor. How did you end up doing this project in Zanzibar? Because it's not like the most obvious location, I guess.
Jagosh, Soma main partner in Europe, fall in love with Tanzania, and he spent around 3 years in this country in traveling time after time, of course, and trying to get some projects, some possibility to make some projects there. Because according to his reportings, like his feelings, he feel in Tanzania like at home. So it's really like in this part. So Tanzania, no oil, no weapon, no big politics, no big money. So all evil of this world left this country aside, and it's live in peace like 300 years before. So very simple life and many nice things. Like for example, maybe you know, in Africa, in most countries, it's really dangerous for white people to be there. You can be a victim of some criminals, or simply they can get some money from your family if they rap you and start to ask for a fund for your life. But Tanzania is very friendly, friendly country, and very friendly people, and plus this amazing possibility to touch past life in its original state and speak with people with another mind, with another approach to life. There have really many things that, on my opinion, much healthy than in our culture.
I can imagine that by itself is a very valuable thing to experience.
So we really like learn from them, and actually we expect like mutual exchange of knowledge, because they can teach their part of knowledge, their part of life, and we can teach our part of. And they need technologies for sure, and even simple technologies for them is a big gift. And we need, at least me and many of people that I know need this back to roots of the life, feel once again feel the simple roots of the life without any technologies to be a human and to be a happy human. So, and they can learn how to do it. And it's really, really amazing.
Sounds great. I think this is an interesting one. What's next for Soma? You have drums, you've got the lyra, the string instrument, the pipe, ether. What's missing?
Well, let Vlad speak. It's easier. It's easier. So I cannot say anything I'm not allowed to say. So
sounds like the
lineup.
The lineup is complete. You know, you could have all the roles in a band are represented basically. So
yeah, but some parts are missing, but they are coming.
Are you going to develop the enna? I think it's called the enna. This one.
Yes, yes. So now, just right now, we have 3 things in very close to release. First one is Cosmos. It's drifting memory station. So this is things based on memory, digital memory, but it's like a kind of anti-looper. So it's stuff that you can create amazing ambient track, ambient soundscape, just on the fly, very easy, very intuitive, and you can play whole gig using Cosmos and any source like guitar, synthesizer, your voice, violin, anything else. And the key point of this machine that what I really don't like in looper, that it has a loop. Sorry. So like the same. So maybe as you notice, I this kind of wild, crazy guy that needs this live breathing everywhere. And I also need this breathing and recording machines, like live recording machines. Like
Tony, don't you have this thing that kind of degrades the sound while it's looping?
Oh yeah,
the lep loop or something.
Oh yeah, the lep loop. It's what's the memory? Is it like a bucket brigade device or something, so that the voltage gradually degrades? So it the memory
first of all works. First of all, it has some tools for degradation, and you can really have a mess like from old cassette tape recording. I really like it. So it has like dynamical degradation, frequency degradation, nonlinear degradation, but key stuff that it have some shifting stuff. So it's like it's not the same loop. It's not a looper actually. So it's drifting memory station, the best explanation what is it. So it's like special methods of scanning on this memory, so you never get the same. So it's like evolving soundscape, and it evolves in its own. You can put one sound, go to another room, 20 minutes it will play gig. maybe one more.
I really like using a loop, like a hardware looper in a live situation, because if I set, it's like setting a really long delay with a feedback, but not 100%. So the signal is gradually decaying, but I'm still feeding material into the looper. So to me, this is some kind of chaotic situation, because the way it's layering up is not something that I can predict or control, and I have to, I don't know.
But it does bring a constant element to it, I guess.
Yeah, it's like it's like a loop, but the loop is changing and decaying, and as the feedback is decaying and as you're feeding more stuff into it, it's something that evolves in this really organic way. Yeah, the looping nature of it is really hypnotic, and it kind of carries people along on that journey. So I find that a really useful technique for the live, some of the live abstract stuff.
So it's totally 100% for live performance. So Cosmos is a very, very live instrument, like all Soma instruments. No problem. And you really can play whole as Cosmos and something else. Of course, it will be something specific. You cannot play Madonna Superhit using Cosmos.
That's okay.
Yeah,
but I really like I really like playing live with the least instruments, and I think there was a situation at the end, like in December 2019. We were doing a Transcendence Orchestra live show in Berlin, and we thought that there were three members performing, but one got really sick and couldn't do it, and so I brought really I literally had the lyra and a delay and a delay pedal, and I was expecting another member to have more equipment, so we ended up playing and having really very little, but I find it really liberating to have to work harder with less and squeeze more out of what I've got, and then I'm finding the real gold in it.
Yeah, well, that's
being
those
lazy.
situations where you are put on the spot are the ones where you get most creative, because you just have to.
It forces you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
I mean, being out of your comfort zone often helps. Having you do things that you didn't expect, or like you said, it makes you work harder, and often those are the moments where you, like you said, you find gold. You are doing things so like intuitively and in the moment, that that's where the interesting moments arise.
where I didn't expect this and I wasn't prepared for this, so I'm in at the deep end. Okay, we're playing live. It was I like, I actually enjoy those situations. It's special things can come out of that, or you can just crash and burn, but usually I don't know,
usually it works.
It always works. I have a kind of delusional faith in it turning out okay.
Is it delusional though? Because I mean, you by now you have so much experience in playing live. You're always going to get something out of it, and even it's always also in situations where you think, oh, I don't know, I might not have had my best night. It can be a total different perception for the people who watched it, because they saw you sweat and work hard.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's good to see. It's good to when you watch a performance, it's good to see someone putting effort in and working hard. I think that's something people like to see, that you're trying
Well,
hard at what you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah, well, I guess it's well, I don't think it's only that, like seeing a musician suffer, trying to save his ass, on stage, but it's also creates some tension, because
Yeah, that tension, that's it.
yeah, because the audience can see, okay, this guy's really improvising, and yeah, sometimes things don't really align that well, but then all of a sudden things click, and there's some magic happens, and that's the moment everybody's waiting for, because that's what you want from a performance, that it really all makes sense and clicks, and you can feel the room is like all on the same page about what they're hearing and what they're seeing, and without the risk of making that mistake, it's you never really get to that point,
Yeah.
right, Glenn?
Yeah, well, I think when it comes to improvising, it depends on it's like you say, when you're out of your comfort zone and trying to do the most with little things. That's what I think it's so interesting about instruments like pipe and stuff we didn't cover so far, which are for me very interesting, because you always start with your own tone of voice to get a sound out of it. So, and it can be very diverse in outcome. So yeah.
Yeah, during our set, I saw you use it a few times where you were not actually even triggering external sounds, but just basically affecting your own voice, and it makes it a way more direct and almost vulnerable way of performing, because you can actually hear somebody's voice in that context, which is kind of unfamiliar, but also I can imagine you can feel quite naked if you if you start doing that, right? Because
Yeah.
you can use the pipe and kind of hide behind it, and make it all sort of really sort of smooth and ambient and a big cloud of sound. But you can also use it more as a vocal treatment type device.
Yeah, it depends what preset you're on, but yeah, you can do like very crazy things, because it's a contact mic, so you everywhere where you're gaining some sort of sound, you can use it in your neck, you can use it on your belly if you're like practicing hard enough. You can do like very crazy things with pipe. It's not really just one thing, just blowing on it and then it makes like this sound. No, it's not like that. You have to know the instrument is really an instrument. It really fits the philosophy of Soma gear. It's very fragile. It's not always like rah, some demon is like talking inside, or you can do like very tiny things like LFOs with it, and yeah. So we also have like very different mics for it, which also give like a lot of different outcomes. A lot of mics react on different timbres and very specific things you can change in your voice. So it's really a unique instrument, which will probably not sound the same with everybody. So if we before had like a pipe and we're just blowing inside of it, we will still get 4 different things. And also as a run through, direct through effects unit is very useful. Vlad can maybe give us some technical things, but you can use it as well as an effects unit in the end of your chain, not using it with the contact mic. So yeah, it's very diverse in that way. Many possibilities to use it in a very unique way. Yeah, that's what I like about it, really. Right, Vlad? Right?
Very, very nice.
Actually, I I have another question that just came in mind for Vlad. As a musician, I know I'm always kind of chasing after an idea, and sometimes I get closer to it than other times, and sometimes it doesn't even represent at all the idea or the starting point that I that got me going. But So it's basically never really 100% satisfaction, which is the beauty about it, because then you go back to the studio another day and have another attempt, basically. How do you feel that? Is that something you can relate to with designing instruments? Are you chasing to build like your ultimate instrument? Maybe do you have a favorite you've built so far, or are you always chasing the impossible imaginary instrument?
Actually, this is interesting question, and because I have both experience as a musician and as an engineer, different for sure. Maybe the difference is that as a musician you have almost endless freedom because you can do everything you want. But as engineer, you very hard limited by physical laws and laws of circuitry and radio electronics. That is why you cannot do everything that you want. You have to follow rules, and you have, otherwise it simply will not work. So you will work with much narrow, maybe boundaries, narrow window of possibilities. That is why it's hard to say about this kind of perfection like this, because it's not just pure expression of your feelings. It's like a combination of your philosophy, feelings, and strict rules of physics. So for me, it's every time it's journey for sure. It's not just like straight way from A to B, and it's exploration anytime. So I listen thousands of times to my instrument and change something. These changes can be small or big. For example, the pulsar passed through several stages before it got final shape. So the first FX processor was much simpler. The first this looper sequencer built-in was much simpler, and also small building blocks like these small blocks like DCAs, figures, pitches, inverters. It was not included in the very first version. So it's all the time it's listening. So I do something, I have a clear idea how to start. I cannot go too far from this idea, at least for the moment. There was not such cases like I started from pulsar and finished with pipe. So, but it's possible. Like vice versa. I absolutely can imagine the situation, but it hasn't happened yet. I think maybe it will happen in the future. So, but
which instrument does represent your philosophy the closest, do you think, of the ones you've already released?
I think all of them together. That is why they are so different. That is why they are so different. I didn't make Lyra 8 Plus, for example, but my Pulsar Lyra 12. So for me, much more interesting, like create objects in my sound universe, and these objects have to be different. So all of them together represent this vision that I try to. So. Actually, for example, pipe absolutely not as much successful like Lyra, but I love pipe not less than Lyra. And for me, pipe is really very interesting instrument, and it's open for me personally, like a musician, a lot of possibilities that I can't get without the pipe. Because I am not a singer, and but I would like to sing, and I use pipe like turn my voice into some weird synthesizer. I cannot do such things without Python. So actually, this is like maybe something in between poetry and scientific work. So, what is the ultimate scientific equation? I think there is no such equations. It's like infinite rods, something like this. So I feel something like this. I feel no final point in this journey. Maybe that is why I have no even imaginary perfect tool, like perfect musical instrument that I will create. At least at the moment.
Makes sense. Well, people, we have been talking for more than 2 hours.
Whoa.
Hey, where did the cat go? I thought the cat was
it's on my lap. Maybe you can hear it purring.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, thanks for this conversation. Usually at the end of the talk, we give everybody an opportunity to plug some stuff that they're working on, or some releases that are coming out, some gigs, some new instruments, maybe in this case. So let's go from top to bottom, left to right. Vlad, anything you want to make people aware of that they might not know, something you've got coming out in the future, anything that we haven't discussed?
So actually, these 2 hours we spoke about Soma stuff, so everything was discussed. So, watch news from Soma Laboratory. Soon we will have some new releases. I hope soon, because now it seems really hard to be in this industry. Everything is crazy slow because of this COVID. But hope we will make new releases quite soon. So some of them was announced. So I'm very happy with the conversation. So, a lot of things was discussed around Soma, so nothing special or to be added to this conversation. Thank you very much for invitation and this unique and awesome company for this nice discussion.
Excellent. Thank you, Vlad. Really great to have you on. It's an honor. Glenn, anything you've got in the pipeline you want to make people aware of? I would know something, but I don't know if I can talk about it.
Not yet, but
Okay.
I'm working on a more spacey album for Linear Straight, more ambient, for a well-known label.
Awesome.
Whatever. So yeah, there will be lots of stuff. I'm working with Jeroen on a new release, but it's a little bit harder because we don't live that close to each other. So it's like it's what we've been talking about last 2 hours. If you're not together in this outside your comfort zone place, sometimes things will go a little bit not that smooth, as you're like jamming together. You easily have like something like, "Well, this is cool," like we had, but I'm sure there will be a lot of stuff. I did a remix for Alexander Kowalski. I think I can talk about that. I'm not sure about the release date, but anyway, there's a lot of things in the pipeline for my other projects, as you know.
If people want to find you, what's the best place? Do you have a Bandcamp? Anything you want to direct people to find out about your music?
Not really. I've been on good labels so far, but I never got from my Linear Straight into a personal Bandcamp account. But there will be news on the Radical G side. So yeah, it will be busy this year for sure.
Excellent. Awesome.
Super
cool.
Thanks.
Nice one. Great to have you on as well. And Tony, you want to promote something, plug anything? Stuff you're working on?
I've been doing various experiments and recording. We'll see what happens with those. But in the kind of near future, there's the first marital aid radio show this year is going to be, I think it's on Rinse FM Friday morning at the wonderful hour of I think like 1 a.m. or something. But it's we always, you can always listen back on the Dynamic Tension SoundCloud. I put it up there. But yeah, that's always a lot of fun doing the radio shows with DJ Bus Replacement Service, playing a weird and wonderful range of stuff. And I think that in the near future that's it. But yeah, like there are always things bubbling away in the background, but you know, you often can't announce them until they're ready and you know where their home is and stuff like that. But there's stuff on the way. There's always stuff on the way.
Okay, well, great to have you on again, and who knows, maybe we can do another jam sometimes.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be involved with the Knob Twiddlers.
Cool, and yeah, thanks all for joining. And I think I would stick to two things. One would be our Discord server. People who are into this kind of subjects and like to talk about technology, synths, making music, production, sound design, or talk about cats or whatever. We've got a Discord server where all the Knob Twiddlers are hanging out and exchanging information and learning things from each other. And actually, I'm learning a lot there as well, which is great. It's a really nice community and lots of interaction. So it's a cool place if you want to spend more time listening and talking to people about this subject. And the other thing is our Patreon page. I encourage you to check that out. The link should be in the comments soon or in the description of the video. If you want to support us, that would be great. Or you can actually get in the higher tiers. You can get some sound packs and stuff like that, and master classes, a lot of things, a lot of extras, and that's pretty much it, people. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Really enjoyed this one. Such a nice bunch of people to hang out with, and hopefully everybody had a good time. Thank you for watching, the people on YouTube and Twitch.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Bye.